Grandpa brought a ghost home from World War II. Here in COVID hell, my kids are doing their homeschool thing. I'm working from home, and my dogs are hiding from me so I don't take them on another walk. So, I figured now would be a good time to post something I've been wanting to share for a while. Sorry it's long, but it's crazy. For me, the story starts when I was in high school. My grandfather had passed away, and a couple of my mom's high school friends came to town for the funeral. There was a lot of alcohol and hilarious stories about how badass my grandfather was. After most of a bottle of Jameson Irish Whiskey, my mom's friend said, "I can't even look at a Ouija board without hyperventilating." The whole room went silent, and my mom left to get another drink. Being my curious self, I started bugging them for the story behind that. Finally, my mom agreed, and all three of them took a deep breath at the same time. Here is the legend as it goes. One night in the 10th grade, my mom, her friend Gloria, and Gloria's boyfriend Harlan came over to my mom's house to hang out. Harlan brought a Ouija board that his sister had gotten for Christmas and wanted to freak the girls out. My grandma was out for the evening, and my grandpa was in his room in the basement. They set the board up on the kitchen table at the top of the stairs to the basement, turned off all the lights, lit a couple of candles, and sat down to play. At first, they were pushing it around, giggling, and not taking anything seriously. Suddenly, the glass piece pushed right to the middle of the board and went completely rigid. It was so abrupt that they all screamed, Harlan louder than any of them. None of them could push the glass piece for a few seconds. Then it started swirling around the board. They all looked at each other in shock. My mom said, "Who is this?" It just kept swirling. Then it started going to what seemed to be random letters. After a couple of minutes, they noticed it was going to the same 8 letters in the same sequence over and over again, Fickdich. They were all confused. This went on for like 5-6 minutes. My mom looked up and realized that my grandpa had come upstairs and was standing by the table watching them. Suddenly, instead of just the 8 letters, it added 3 more. Fickdich. My mom looked at my grandpa, whose name was Lee, and said, "We don't know what it is saying." His face now pale white, he slowly said, "It's saying fuck you, Lee, in German." At that point, everyone let go of the glass piece, and it started spinning and flew off the table. Everyone sat in silence for a minute, processing what just happened. My grandpa grabbed the board, took it downstairs out the back door to his fire pit. They all stood there and watched as he poured gasoline on it, threw in a match, and watched it burn. They were all just staring at the fire when my mom looked up and said, "What just happened?" My grandpa looked right at her and said nothing. He turned around and went to his room and didn't come out the rest of the night. When my grandmother came home, my mom had a lot of questions. She told her what had happened, and my grandma went as pale white as my grandpa had. Apparently, when my grandpa was in WW2, he and a few members of his squadron had been captured by a sadistic German soldier. The first day in captivity, the German soldier executed my grandfather's best friend in his unit right in front of him. He knew he was probably next. That night, he was able to get loose from his ties and hid. When the soldier came back, he was able to knock him on the ground and wrestle his gun away. As he was pointing the gun at the man, trying to figure out what to do next, the man charged at him screaming, "Fickdich!" As my grandfather shot him in the face. He then untied the other guys, and they escaped, bringing his friend's body so they could ensure he got a proper burial and his mother would have closure. She said the only reason she even knows this story is because after 10 years of marriage and him waking up screaming multiple times a week, she finally got him to tell her about this.